Hare Krishna. We are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter entitled Talks between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. Text number 175, but I'll just chant a few verses before 169. You don't have to respond. Then when we come to 175, you can repeat after me. Krishna Anuraga Dvitiya Arunavasana Pranayamana Kanchulikaya Vaka Achadana. Srimati Radharani's affection for Krishna is her upper garment, which is pinkish in color. She then covers her breast with another garment composed of affection and anger towards Krishna. Text 170. Saundarya Kunkuma Sakhi Pranaya Chandana Smita Kanti Karpura Tine Ange Vilepana. Srimati Radharani's personal beauty is the reddish powder known as kumkum. Her affection for her associates is sandalwood pulp, and the sweetness of her smile is camphor. All these combined together are smeared over her body. Text 171. Krishnera Ujvala Rasa Mriga Mada Bhara Se Mriga Made Vichitrita Kalevara. Conjugal love for Krishna is an abundance of musk, and with that musk our whole body is decorated. Text 172. Prachanna Mana Vamya Dhamila Viniyasa Dhiradi Ratmaka Guna Ange Patavasa. Craftiness and covered anger constitute the arrangement of her hair. The quality of anger due to jealousy is the silk garment covering her body. Text 173. Raga Tambula Rage Adhara Ujvala Prema Kautilya Netra Yugale Kajala. Her attachment for Krishna is the reddish color of beetle nets on her brilliant lips. Her double dealings in loving affairs constitute the black ointment around her eyes. Text 174. Suddipta Satvika Bhava Arshadi Sanchari Yei Saba Bhava Bhushana Saba Ange Bhari. The ornaments decorating her body are the blazing ecstasies of goodness and the constantly existing ecstasies headed by jubilation. All these ecstasies are the ornaments all over her body. Text 175. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Also ornamenting her body are the 20 kinds of ecstatic symptoms beginning with Kila Kinchita. Her transcendental qualities constitute the flower garland hanging in fullness over her body. Purport. The 20 different moods headed by Kila Kinchita are described as follows. First, in connection with the body, there are bhava, ecstasy, hava, gestures, and hela, negligence. In relation to the self, there are shobha, beauty, kanti, lustre, deepti, brilliance, madhurya, sweetness, pragalabhata, impudence, audarya, magnanimity, and dhairya, patience. And in relation to nature, there are lila, pastimes, vilasa, enjoyment, vichitti, breaking off, and vibhrama, puzzlement. There are no English equivalents for the words kila kinchita, muthayita, and kutamita. Srimati Radharani's flower garland consists of her qualities and is divided into mental, verbal, and bodily parts. Her attitude of forgiveness and mercy is all mental. Her talks, which are very pleasing to the ear, are verbal. The bodily qualities are age, beauty, lustre, and grace. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Et Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Shatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Katanchana smrute yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vismrute viparitam syat Shri Chaitanya namamitam. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjivayata kila shakti dhara svadhamna anyam shahasta charana shravana tvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to serve you all today morning. I'll speak from Chaitanya Charitamrita for the purification of my own heart and for the pleasure of all assembled Vaishnavas. Seek permission and blessings of Yaduvar Prabhu and the other senior devotees as well. Hare Krishna. Vishaka Mataji is also here. Thank you. Okay. I thought I saw her. Okay. Hare Krishna. So this is a very beautiful section, a very deep section. You know, Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are having a very intense conversation about Krishna, then Srimati Radharani. Now the background of this is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Jagannath Puri, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him that you are going to South India, you will meet Ramananda Rai at Kovur. I thought he was a crazy fellow. I never took him seriously. But now that I've become a devotee, I understand that he's a very advanced Vaishnava. So you should associate with him. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very excited. So when he comes near Godavari, he's very excited to meet Ramananda Rai. So when he sees him, and Ramananda Rai also realizes this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord Krishna, and Ramananda Rai is the incarnation of Vishaka Sakhi. Lalita and Vishaka are the intimate associates of Radharani in the spiritual world. And Radharani's mood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. And Radharani's most intimate associates are Lalita and Vishaka, which means Lalita Devi has come as Swarup Damodar Goswami, Vishaka Devi has come as Ramananda Rai. And Ramananda Rai was the governor of the Madras province, a very big post. And he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him there. The dormant love which Radharani has for her Sakhis, Vishaka, it just manifested. And they ran towards each other and they embraced. Profuse tears started coming from their eyes. It was a reunion. And there were other Brahmanas who were standing nearby and they were watching this. For them, this was a spectacle. And they were like, what is happening? Eta sanyasera teja deki brahma sam shudra lingya kene korena krandan. They were like, oh, this is a sannyasi. He's so effulgent like 1,000 suns. Deki brahma sam, it's as if Sakshat Brahman has appeared. But we are wondering, why is he embracing a Shudra, a lower caste man? Shudra alingya kene and Karena Krandan, and he's crying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that the Brahmanas are bewildered. They're not able to understand the love that we are having for each other. The love for Krishna, they couldn't understand. So he controlled himself. So this very beautiful verse describing that Mahaprabhu saw them, and what did Mahaprabhu do? Yai mata vipragan bhava more man vijatiya loke dekhi prabhu kaile samarpan. Mahaprabhu saw that, oh, these people are simply Brahmanas for name's sake. They can't understand love of Krishna. So Prabhu Kaile Samarpani controlled his ecstasy. I mean, he wanted to be ecstatic, he wanted to just express himself, but he controlled himself, he restrained. Why? Because Vijatiya Loke Dekhi. He saw the Brahmanas as Vijatiya, means he saw them as other caste. It's interesting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. In the Vedic tradition, sannyasi is the highest caste. And Mahaprabhu is also a Brahmana by birth. And these are Brahmanas who are getting bewildered. Technically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Brahman and these Brahmanas are also Brahmins. So Mahaprabhu should consider them as Sajatiya, same caste. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing them as Vijatiya, as a separate caste. And he is seeing himself and Ramananda Rai as the same caste, which means they love Krishna. Although Ramananda Rai is from a lower caste. Are you getting this? High caste, low caste, I hope I am not confusing. But Mahaprabhu, that means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing the essence. Wherever there is love for Krishna, he doesn't care about the external parameters of who is a Brahmana, who is a Kshatriya, who is born in what family. He doesn't consider external standards. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai then have a beautiful conversation, which is what this chapter is all about. See, Lalita Vishaka, that is Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, were the best friends of associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be crying whole night remembering Krishna in Jagannath Puri, and Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai would console him. Harsha Prabhu kahin shuno Swarup Rama Rai, Nama Sankirtana Kalo Parama Upay. So Mahaprabhu sometimes would be crying, but sometimes suddenly he would laugh. Harsha Prabhu kahin shuno Swarup Rama Rai, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, listen to me, listen to me. He would hold both of them and he would cry. Nama Sankirtana, Sankirtan, Kalo Parama Upay. Kali Yuga, this is the best solution. And here in the conversation, as they are discussing Mahaprabhu is acting like a student. He is saying, Ramananda Rai, please tell me, educate me. And Ramananda Rai says, how can I answer? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking like a humble student. What is the essence of bhakti? And Ramananda Rai is saying, before answering, he says, actually I am a puppet. You are a puppeteer, you are making me dance. So whatever you are making me speak, I am speaking. And so then Mahaprabhu is asking questions and Ramananda Rai is answering. It's a very beautiful conversation. And finally he takes a conversation to the highest aspects of bhakti. And there he has already glorified Krishna. Now Ramananda Rai is glorifying the supreme position of Srimati Radharani. So we are always coming in front of Radha Gokulananda and praying. So we all know about Gokulananda, we know about Krishna, there is Krishna book, we read about Krishna. But what about Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Krishna? So here Ramananda Rai is explaining Srimati Radharani's position, the supreme position. And today we can briefly discuss how can we understand Srimati Radharani's position, although we are not qualified. This is the highest subject matter in Krishna consciousness. The glories of Srimati Radharani. And we are at the basic level. We are struggling with our basic body, mind, senses. But still, because this is there in the purport and this is the section, we need to discuss. So, to be able to appreciate Srimati Radharani's position, we need to remember one very, very important verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I would request you to repeat after me. This is a beautiful verse and the foundational verse for every devotee who wants to understand deeper aspects of bhakti. And this is a very simple verse to remember also. You can repeat after me. Atmendriya priti vancha Tara bole kam Krishnendriya priti ichha Dhare premanam. Atmendriya. When I want to satisfy my own senses, Atmendriya priti vancha. When I love my own senses and I want to satisfy my own body and senses, Atmendriya priti vancha tara bole kam. That is calm, lust. Krishnendriya priti ichha. And when I want to satisfy Krishna's transcendental senses, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. That is called love. So when I want to satisfy my own senses, that is lust. And when I want to satisfy Krishna's senses, that is love. And Srimati Radharani is always absorbed in the mood of how to satisfy Krishna. So she is the greatest lover of Krishna. Is this clear? This is a philosophical concept every ISKCON devotee, every devotee sadhaka needs to understand. Now, in our world, the world we live in, material world, for us, 3 words are most important always. I, me, mine, right? But bhakti begins, love for Krishna is when Krishna Ichha, Krishnendriya Priti Ichha. When we are thinking of Krishna's desire, oh, what does Krishna want? That is when prema begins. That is when love begins. When I'm constantly thinking what I need, of course, I am a very strong advocate of devotees taking care of themselves, self-care and understanding our needs and feelings is very, very important. So don't misunderstand me. In fact, I studied nonviolent communication also of Marshall Rosenberg. So I talk about needs and feelings. Devotees need to connect to their needs and feelings. There is no doubt about it. But at a higher level, pure bhakti, pure love for Krishna is when my needs and feelings don't matter. What does Krishna need? That is pure love. So one day we want to reach there, right? That is when prema, that is when love attains perfection. See, bhakti, Krishna consciousness, Rupa Goswami says, is an ocean, a very different kind of ocean. Generally an ocean has a boundary and it also has, you can measure the depth. It has a, what is it called? It has a floor, the ocean floor. But bhakti ocean is a very special kind of ocean. It doesn't have boundary. It is unlimitedly expanding. And it doesn't have a floor down. Its depth and expanse is unlimited. So, basically, bhakti is unfathomable. And we are unable to enter this ocean because of our own insecurities and fear. We are constantly thinking of my own needs, my own, desires. And we live in fear, and we are surrounded by these thoughts. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitun, eating, sleeping, sex life and defending. This is what drives human beings in material world. So therefore, to experience the topmost spiritual life, to experience the happiness of the topmost spiritual experiences, we need to now enter this ocean where we are thinking of Krishna's desire. And Srimati Radharani is teaching us this. And for that, we have to activate our heart. We have to intensely pray to Srimati Radharani. Unfortunately, our bhakti, whatever little bhakti we do, it's always based on activities and analysis. But we have to activate our aspirations. Aspiration to love Krishna has to be activated. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur very beautifully has sung, Jnana karma thaga dui, more pratariya loi, avasheshe phele sindhu jale, avasheshe phele sindhu jale. In his bhajan he is saying, Jnana, constantly analyzing and getting knowledge. We are actually trying to control Krishna with our mind. We have to be careful. Constantly being analytical and speculative. Jnana, karma, and karma means activities. If I do this 10 activities, I can get Krishna. Bhakti is not about achieving Krishna. Bhakti is not about achieving Krishna's love. Bhakti is not about achievement. It is about receiving. Bhakti is all about grace. So what happens many times, we become victims of jnana and karma. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, jnana and karma are two robbers. They'll catch us and they'll rob whatever love and attraction we have for Krishna, they'll rob it away from us. Jnana, karma, thaga, dui. And then they'll throw me into an ocean. And I'll suffer in that ocean of suffering, material world. So at such times, what do I need? I want Krishna, you please pick me up from this ocean of suffering and place me in the bhakti ocean. He no samaye bandhu, tumi Krishna kripa sindhu. Jai Radha Gokulanand Bhagwan ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes very beautifully. He says, "E no samaye bandhu tumi Krishna kripa sindhu kripa koro loho more bale kripa koro loho more bale." He says, "Krishna, please pick me up from the ocean of suffering that I am drowning in. With your tender lotus hands, pick me up and place me in the ocean of kripa, grace and mercy." So therefore it's very important that we want to now enter into the Radha Tattva, we want to enter into the highest aspects of bhakti, then we need to give up controlling tendency and we need to enter the space of Krishna, what will please you? What does Krishna want? And once these pure devotees, they are swimming in this ocean. They are always thinking what Krishna wants. So what happens? Because of that, the ecstasy they are experiencing is different than what we are experiencing. See, devotees we are also happy in Krishna consciousness, right? We also like Kirtan was going on. We were all very happy. Devotees are jubilant. But what we are experiencing is very different than what pure devotees are experiencing. Because we are constantly thinking of our own satisfaction. But pure devotees are only absorbed in what does Krishna want? Is Krishna happy today? See, the difference is like this. And when I was a young boy in Mumbai, we had a swimming pool in our colony. So we learned swimming. I still remember, there's a long swimming pool and there is a section which is a deep section, which is like 8 foot, 9 foot. And there is a shallow section where, the water, we could swim and we could enjoy in that water. But it was considered that everybody was learning swimming. It was said that you have kind of attained success if you can go to the deep waters. And you can dive from they had a springboard, and then you have to dive there. And that was like, and the day one of the boys did it, that was like, that was the moment of, you're getting baptized into the swimming pool's ethos, the culture. And we all would look at those boys who would dive into the deep swimming pool as, wow, when will I reach that stage? And we were scared of going to the deep or diving in the deep waters because the first time is always fearful. So I remember I had learned swimming, but I didn't have the courage to go that side. So then one day I was standing above the pool, and then one boy pushed me. And it was all planned by them. So I fell into the deep section, but they all knew that I know swimming, and I also knew, but I didn't have the confidence. And then when I was in the water, I started splashing, and then I reached the bank, and then I was like ecstatic. Wow, this is deep. And then I could do back swimming, back float, and then I could go underwater, and then I could back dive, and all those kind of things. And once I started enjoying the deep swimming pool section, I never went to the shallow section again. And I would look at the other boys, come here, this is so good. So many of us, we are scared to enter that section in bhakti where, we actually think of Krishna. We are only thinking of ourselves even when we are practicing bhakti, which is needed. We have our challenges, we have our body, mind struggles, we have our responsibilities, fine. But sometime, every day, Krishna, this is for you. Krishna, I want to please you. And pure devotees are 24 hours absorbed in that space. They are swimming in the deep ocean which is limitless. And then they feel, what are you, they feel sorry for us. Because we are only asking Krishna for our job, for our family, for our responsibilities. But there is a whole different world. Therefore, the shallow bhakti doesn't excite the pure devotees. Their goal is what? Krishnendriya Priti Ichha. And what are we doing? Atmendriya. That verse which I chanted just a few moments ago. Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tara Bole Kam Krishnendriya Priti Ichha Dhare Prema Nam. So therefore, this is the Krishna consciousness. So when we were young, I remember as a new devotee, we were pushed into this deep ocean. I didn't want to. Like I remember when I joined the temple, we used to have sometimes festival once in a year of Kirtan Shravan festival for 3-4 days in another place, far away from Chowpatty temple in Pune. So morning 4 o'clock till night 12 o'clock, there would be only hearing and chanting. It was like somebody is forcing me there. And I've seen many older devotees in our community where I come from. I've seen devotees, they are, because they got that taste, they're able to navigate through a lot of crises in life. So there are very two important things, I wanted to say. One was, when we enter this space of pleasing Krishna, which is the deep waters, then the shallow bhakti doesn't excite us. And the second is, we need to practice this or apply this by asking simple questions. What will please Krishna? What can I do to please Krishna? See, when I'm thinking only of myself, then we look for practical classes. I've seen, Prabhu, please give a practical class today. The acronyms, like 4A formula. All those things are very attractive. Even I find them very attractive, and I also speak that often. But generally, I've seen that when I'm looking for practical things, I'm looking for something practical that will help me live in this material world better, which I need, of course, which is needed. At the same time, if I learn to focus on Krishna's senses, satisfying Krishna's senses, then my relationship with Krishna improves. See, God, let us make it very clear today. I think many of you may be intuitively knowing. God, as we understand in Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, is very different from God as presented in the Semitic religions. Like, in many, I'm not saying every Christian, Muslim or Jew, but most of them, their understanding of God is, God is understood in terms of I and my life. Please, God, please give me our daily bread. It's about God exists because He is there to take care of me. You see this? In Gaudiya Vaishnava, the foundation is God is independent of me. Even if I don't exist, God continues to have His life. Now, see, for most people, God is what He can do for me. Isn't it? We generally think like this of God. Generally. What can God do for me? We are unable to think of God, He is having a life beyond me. See, I'll give a simple example. When I was a student in school, as a young boy, I still remember very strong memories of one teacher I was very attached to. She was my mathematics teacher. And she was very kind. But because, I was a young boy, when we're children, we get attached and we also we're unreasonable. So I remember still feeling that I never thought that this teacher has an independent existence. I thought she exists only for me. My homework, my difficulties, she has to solve. I could never imagine that she has a life of her own life. I could never imagine that. And then one day I saw her, I realized she's different. She had a big tummy. And then we came to know that she is pregnant. She's going to be a mother. Oh, then that was the first time something being told to me by the universe that she has a life of her own. And then what happened? Then she went and then she didn't come for a few days. And in the morning assembly, there was an announcement, condolence meeting, that while giving birth to the child, a child died. So everybody offered a prayer, and then I was also offering a prayer. Oh, her child died. She has a baby. These things, I had never thought of an existence for the teacher other than me. And then she came after the whole thing, after a few days. She was a very different woman. She was very sober. She was very quiet. I think the tragedy had kind of hit her. So then I started realizing, oh, she has anxiety. She has worries. She has a life. And then her husband would come every day to take her. And I was seeing them. Oh, then I realized, oh, she's not for me. She's not there to solve my problems. So even in Krishna consciousness, when we are very young devotees, we think of God only in terms of me, my problems. Krishna help me, Krishna help me. But if you see Madhya Lila, Haridas Thakur is praying to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is telling Haridas Thakur, I'm in great anxiety. God is telling Haridas Thakur, I'm in great anxiety. How will these Yavanas be delivered? And Haridas Thakur is saying, Haridas kahe Prabhu, chinta na koriya. Oh, Mahaprabhu, please don't take anxiety. So then Prabhupada writes a purport there, that this is devotional service when a devotee wants to remove the anxiety of Krishna. And we are like, what? How can God have anxiety? My life is filled with problems. But the point is this, that God has an existence beyond me. But because we are thinking only of my senses, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tara Bole Kam. Because it's only about me, we can't understand this. But Krishna has an existence other than me. Krishna has a girlfriend. Krishna has girlfriends. Krishna has many boyfriends. Krishna has a family. Krishna steals butter, he lies. And when we enter that world, when we hear Bhagavatam class or Krishna Katha, not for what I can get out of it, but just to hear about Krishna's glories, that's when prema begins. And as long as it's all about me, then it's not really prema. It's like we are still in the shallow waters. So basically, once Radhika Raman Prabhu was telling us in one class that we think God is busy solving my problem from morning to night. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is teaching us, revealing to us, at least this section is revealing to us, what does God do when He is not busy solving my problems? What does He like? And if we show this interest, what does Krishna like? Like Janmashtami is coming. So I am reading Venu Geet, Krishna's, the chapter on that gopis are glorifying Krishna's flute. And when you get deep into it, you realize the acharyas have given such detailed descriptions of Krishna's flute. I mean, Krishna has, how many types of flutes? 6 or 7 types of flute, and each type, how many holes are there in each type of the flute, and how this flute is decorated. I mean, if somebody is filled with himself, we'll find this very unattractive. I remember thinking, first time reading it, I was like, why does Krishna have so many flutes? He's playing a flute, fine. We are saying Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. But why you have to describe so many flutes of Krishna? And then Krishna gave me the realization, mercifully. Well, an ordinary tennis player, he has many tennis rackets. I've seen these tennis players go to play the match, they'll pick out one racket. Okay, this racket is good, I'll play with this racket. So if an ordinary tennis player can have so many tennis rackets, why can't Krishna, the Supreme Lord, have many flutes? So I was pacified. So the point is, we find it very odd when we see variety in God. We want Him to conform to my standard. So therefore, let us resolve to spend some time every day in a space where we are in Krishna's space. So can we just once more chant this verse? The very nice verse, which I chanted in the beginning. Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tara Bole Kam. Krishnendriya Priti Ichha Dhare Premanam. And the person who is the best example of who is satisfying Krishna's senses is Srimati Radharani. She is fully absorbed in pleasing Krishna. And Ramananda Rai is now today explaining qualities of Srimati Radharani. See, we are the Gaudiya Vaishnava branch of Hinduism. So in our path, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us 5 most important things for us to meditate upon. Aradhya Bhagavan Braje Shatanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradarana Para. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajeshatanaya, the darling son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, Krishna, he is our Lord. Aradhya Bhagavan, he is our worshipable God. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajeshatanaya. And the second thing Mahaprabhu taught us is Tadhama Vrindavanam. Vrindavan is non-different from Krishna. So these are our most worshipable, for us, most worshipable. And who is the best devotee? Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. Vrajavadu, the gopis of Vrindavan. The way they love Krishna, we want to follow their footsteps and love Krishna. Because they were not wanting anything from Krishna, they wanted to give Krishna. I was hearing one class of Srila Prabhupada recently. Srila Prabhupada says, so, gopis are the best devotees of Krishna. So when Krishna came back from the forest after herding the cows, the gopis would not go and check Krishna's pocket to see what have you got for us from the forest purposes. They were not looking at Krishna as somebody who's brought something for me. So Mahaprabhu said, Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Varge Nayakal. We want to follow the footsteps of gopis of Vrindavan who loved Krishna purely without expecting anything in return. That is the third reality Mahaprabhu gave us. And fourth, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. Srimad Bhagavatam is our worshipable scripture from which we develop attraction and love for Krishna. And Prema Pumarto Mahan. Our highest goal is to love Krishna purely. These are the 5 truths that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. So, this is the goal. So, this is the gold standard of bhakti which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. And, we have this very famous pastime. Once Krishna had a headache. What happened? Narad Muni came to Krishna and Krishna said, I have a headache. And Krishna told Narad Muni that only if a devotee gives me the dust of his lotus feet, and if I put that dust on my head, my headache will go. So Narad Muni went to different devotees and told them, Krishna is having a headache, please give the dust from your feet. And the devotees said, this is a very big offense. Dust from my feet on Krishna's head, that is very big aparad. No, we can't do that. Nobody was willing to give. And when he went to the gopis, Rupa Goswami describes very, very poetically how some of the gopis didn't have dust on their feet. But they ran to Yamuna, they put their feet in Yamuna, then they came out, they put their feet on the Vrindavan Dham, and then they took out all the dust from their feet and collected large amount of dust and gave it to Narad Muni. Narad Muni said, don't you realize this is an aparad, this is an offense? You will go to hell for giving dust from your feet to put on Krishna's head. But the gopis said, we don't mind going to hell for millions and millions of lifetimes if in exchange Krishna can get relief for 1 second. Because we want to see Krishna is happy. So this is the mood of gopis. Of course, this is the highest. See, sometimes, when we hear the highest examples, we think, Prabhu, we get discouraged. We think, I am not on that level. I have seen devotees immediately get discouraged. Oh, this is the standard. I am not like that. No. See, you have to understand the principle. His Holiness, Satyanandan Swami Maharaj gave a very beautiful concept, which has clarified all my doubts. Because I used to always get disturbed when I used to hear higher standards of pure devotees. Because I used to feel inadequate. That I am not on that level. So he gave a very good example. He said there is principle and there is application of principle. He said Radharani and Gopi's love for Krishna is the highest. That is like the principle. You see what is the principle there and then apply that principle in your own life. So he gave an example. He said one principle is light removes darkness. This is the principle, right? Everybody knows. Light removes darkness. And then Maharaj said, now look at the way this principle is followed by a matchstick. If it is pitch dark, you take a matchstick and light. So there is light. And that light has removed darkness. The principle is followed by a matchstick. And then Maharaj said, the same principle is also followed by sun. When the morning sun rises, light is removed. So then he asked, the principle is what? Light removes darkness. The ability of the sun to follow this principle is much greater than the ability of a matchstick. But both can follow this principle. Similarly, when we hear Gopi's pastime, Radharani's pastime with Krishna, we have to understand what is the principle here. The principle is satisfy Krishna's senses. Now the ability of the Gopis and Radharani to do that, practice that principle is much higher than our ability. But we can also do something. Like we can please devotees, we can do something for other devotees. We can sometimes say, okay Krishna, this one round, I am going to chant for your pleasure. I offer this to you. And then we chant one round. And at the end of the round, we can say, Krishna, I hope you are happy with my round. I offered it to you. So out of 16 rounds, even if you offer one round to Krishna, and then you will see a big difference in the quality of our 15 rounds and that one round. Because there is an attempt to please Krishna. We were not asking anything for ourselves. So therefore, this is the mood of Srimati Radharani. How can I please Krishna? And this is what Ramananda Rai is revealing now. Slowly and in great detail. In fact, the gopis got so attracted to Krishna that they couldn't take their eyes off Krishna. In fact, that, 1 micro-millisecond that when the eyelids, they close. When we talk, so many times the eyelids just close, right? We're not even aware. So that's called nimisha. So the gopis are feeling that for that 1 microsecond, millisecond, I'm not able to see Krishna. So this creator, Brahmaji, he is so imperfect. He has created these eyelids because of which our vision of Krishna is stopped. He is a Buddhu. They call Brahmaji, who is the most intelligent person, as unintelligent. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna brajat kapola subagam savilasahasam nityotsavam na tatra purdrishibir pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. So the gopis are describing Krishna's beauty, Krishna's forehead, Krishna's earrings, the flowers stuck on Krishna's ears, and his beautiful face, his lips. And then they are saying, but what is this? This nimisha, for this 1 microsecond, I'm not able to see Krishna. So you can imagine how they are like so absorbed in Krishna. In fact, once Krishna played his flute in the middle of the night, and he called all the gopis. This is a very famous, which pastime is this? The Rasa Lila. This is considered as the highest example of surrender. The gopis were doing different things. They dropped everything and they ran just to please Krishna. They gave up everything. And when they reached there, what did Krishna tell them? Go away. Krishna told them, you go back. And they said, Krishna, you called us and you are testing us. Of course, then they had passed the test, and Krishna pleased them by dancing with each gopi and gave them immense transcendental pleasure. See, right now we are captured by Krishna's material energy. But when we read these pastimes, then slowly we will be entering Krishna's spiritual energy. It's very important. Unfortunately, we are not able to appreciate these pastimes because, we have lived in a world of sense gratification. That is why we can't appreciate Krishna and Gopi's love. Like, in India we have a saying, Neem ke ped ka kida. Kida means worm. Neem is very bitter. So a worm which is growing in the neem tree, if you come to that kida, and there's a very poetic rhetorical dialogue between the worm on the neem tree and a human being. The human being says, the worm in the neem tree tells the human being, can you tell me what is gulab jamun? Or in England, what? Bonafi pie, or I don't know what is the best sweet, cheesecake. What is a cheesecake? The neem ka kida, the worm in the neem tree, asks a human being. And this fellow says, oh, you don't know cheesecake? Cheesecake is a very sweet item. It's filled with cheese and sweet, and it is. So he says, what is sweet? Because the worm has only tasted neem, which is very bitter. So then the human being explains to that worm that you don't know sugar, jaggery, honey. He has no idea. So we are also like a worm in the neem tree, a worm in the material tree, material world. We are used to the bitterness of material world. We can't understand and appreciate this sweetness. Therefore, the gopis' love for Krishna appears right now to many of us very unfathomable. But with faith, when we hear, then we will be able to understand. That's why Shukdev Goswami, after describing Rasa Lila, just imagine, Rasa Lila is very intimate. But he assures us that if we hear from the right sources, we will also develop the mood like the gopis. Vikriditum vrajavado biridam cha Vishnu Shruddhanvito nushunuyad atavarnayedya Bhaktim param bhagavati pratilabhya kaman Hridrogamashu apahinoti achirena dhira. He says, if you hear about the gopis' pastimes with Krishna, this is Shukdev Goswami's verdict. Vikriditum vrajavado biridam cha Vishnu Shruddhanvito nushunuyad. Hear with faith, or you describe it to devotees who have faith, you will get bhakti, bhaktim param bhagavati, and then what will happen to the lust in the heart? Pratilabhya kama. The lust, ashva apahinot, it will dry up. It will go away. Achirena dhira, and very soon you will become sober. I mean, just imagine reading about the celebrities of this world and their affairs. Does our lust increase or decrease? If we hear about the latest film star and his affairs and scandals, what happens to the lust in our heart? It increases, right? But when you read about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis from the right source, then it reduces. It goes away. The lust goes away. That means these pastimes are not ordinary. These pastimes are sacred. They are worshipable. It's like, there is a saying that in the cowshed once there was fire. And the bull ran and narrowly escaped. After that, whenever the bull sees red, the bull thinks it's fire. And he starts getting jittery. So it is explained by our acharyas that our situation is like that bull. We are living in the material world and we have been burned by the fire of lust. And we can't, and we have suffered a lot because of lust for many lifetimes. And then when we come to Hare Krishna movement and we hear Krishna is having loving affairs with gopis, like that bull which has experienced fire then sees red also as fire, we see Krishna's pastimes like we get, there is something wrong here. Because here in this material world, boy and girl coming together, often there's a lot of gadbad, we say in India, Something is fishy, something is wrong. So then when we see Krishna and Radharani coming together, something is wrong. That is our problem. That is not, Krishna is not having any problem. So therefore, this is very important that we, and these gopis, when they love Krishna so much, that there is it's very, very, very funny. When Uddhava went to Vrindavan to assure the gopis, Uddhava taught them pranayam, breathing meditation. Why? Because they were saying we are unable to forget Krishna. So he was teaching them meditation and they were doing meditation, trying their best to remove Krishna from their mind. Because they are remembering Krishna so much and Krishna is giving us so much pain. Of course, that pain is also transcendental joy. But, they are doing meditation. So we are also doing meditation, trying to remember Krishna and we are also failing. And gopis are also failing. That's how much they loved Krishna. One gopi is selling, Rupa Goswami writes very beautifully, Smeram bange traya parichitam sachi vistirna drishthim vamsi nesto darakishalayam ujvalam chandrakena govindakyam hari tanumya keshi tirtopakanthe ma prekshishthastava sakhe yadi bandhu sange strirange. One gopi is telling another gopi, oh my dear friend, don't go to the bank of Yamuna. Smeram bhangi traya parichitam. There is a crooked boy there who is standing in a threefold bending form. Sachi vistirna drishthim. And he will cast sidelong loving glances upon the gopis. Don't go there. And what he will do? Vamsi nesto darakishalayam ujvalam chandrake. And he's playing his beautiful flute. And especially don't go there on a full moon night. Because he is more beautiful than the full moon. And his name, my dear gopi, his name is Govinda. Govinda kyam hari tanumya keshi tirtopakante. Especially at the Keshi Ghat, don't go there. If you go there, ma prekshishthas tava sakhe yadi bandhu sange strirange. You will lose all attachment to your family, friends, relatives. So don't go there. In other words, she is saying, go there. But that's a very poetic way of describing. So like this, it is established by our Acharya that great devotees, great scholars, they don't get as much mercy of these simple gopis of Vrindavan who loved Krishna. See, our journey in Krishna consciousness has begun with faith, right? We have some faith, that's why we have come. You are sitting in the class because you have faith. You had no idea what I'm going to speak before the class, but you had faith. You invested your precious 1 hour in the class with the faith. So the journey of Krishna consciousness in material world begins with faith. But in Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is living with the gopis, there the entry point is love. There is a board outside Goloka Vrindavan. Love. Only if there is love you can enter. Here, the entry point for Krishna consciousness is faith. That is the difference. And if we don't have love, we can't enter spiritual world. And love will begin with also thinking of the beloved. Okay, let's take a simple example. Love in this world. If you really claim to love another person, will that love be only about you? I like this, I want this. So that person will say, you don't love me at all. Love means, okay, I like this, and what do you like? Right? Love means both parties, you have to consider the other person's desires also. So if we want to go to spiritual world, the qualification is what? Love. And how do we develop that love? By practicing love here. And how do we practice that love here? By telling Krishna, Krishna, I want this is my desire, please give me. And also, Krishna, what is your desire? Isn't that the formula for a loving relationship in this world? The same formula exists in a relationship with Krishna. So this is how we enter spiritual world. So this is a very, very different paradigm. Like Rupa Goswami has given us 6 symptoms of the different symptoms of bhakti. Like at Shraddha stage, the different. I don't want to get into the technical details, but the last thing, the Prema stage, there are 6 symptoms, and the last 2 is Sandarananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Karshani. Sandarananda Visheshatma means that love in this stage, attraction for Krishna is so intense that nothing can penetrate. And Sri Krishna Karshani means at the stage of pure love, Krishna is attracted by the devotee. Devotee is not attracted to Krishna as much as Krishna is attracted to the devotee. So gopis are in that level because our position is we have some faith. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, all that. But love, gopis begin with love. And within love also there are many stages. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, now Ramananda is going to explain. Love also has many, many levels of love. Sneha, Mana, Mahabhava. And within Mahabhava there is Madana Mahabhava. It's like, it's mind-blowing. Now we have no idea about that because we are living in this world where, we are struggling with basic senses. So therefore, if we develop some attraction for devotees, some attraction for hearing Krishna Katha, and then we will also be able to develop this attraction for Krishna. And the highest pinnacle of gopis' love for Krishna is when they love Krishna so much that, in this material world, a person is crying a lot. We think it is suffering. But gopis, in their love for Krishna, they are crying non-stop. And they are unable to forget Krishna. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes when Akrura was taking Krishna away, Krishna and Balram to Mathura, the gopis stopped Akrura's chariot. Evam bruvanam virahaturādrisham vrajastriya Krishna vishikta manasa visrijya lajjam rurusma susmaran govinda damodara madhaveti. So when Akrura was taking the gopis, till now they had kept their love for Krishna a secret. But now they realized Krishna is going away. So they came in front of Krishna's chariot and they stopped the horses. Rurusma susmaran, they started crying loudly. And they started saying, Govinda, Damodara, Madhaveti, Krishna, stop, you can't leave us. Vrindavanam gopaganascha gopyo vilokya govinda viyoga khinnam radha jagushashru vilochanabhyam govinda damodara madhaveti. In Vrindavan, all the Gopa and Gopis are crying in separation from Krishna. But they all know that the person who is missing Krishna the most, who is loving Krishna the most, is Radharani. Radha jagushashru vilochanabhyam. And seeing her cry, they are also crying more. So like this, Vrindavan, everybody is mad for Krishna. And when we hear all these pastimes, we may not be on that level, I'll repeat again. But when just by hearing, coming in association, we also develop that attraction for Krishna. So I'll pause here, I'll stop here, I can have some discussions or questions if there are any. And yes, Mataji. Sorry? Microphone, okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. 2 days in a row in your Nectarian Association is
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for describing such beautiful pastimes and also very practical class at the same time. You have a lot of experience with devotee care and you mentioned the importance of devotees' needs and feelings, yet at the same time we need to hear and become absorbed in Krishna's Leela and what he wants. How do we avoid spiritually bypassing devotees and their needs by just saying, chant Hare Krishna or listen to the pastimes, when sometimes devotees are so much in need of their needs and feelings to be addressed?
Yes, I fully agree with you. So what I have done is, I have separated two words, needs and desires. Once we separate these two, then we are able to come to Krishna more authentically. We are able to come in front of Krishna. So what is the difference between needs and desires? Needs are universal. Everybody has a need. Need for, say, need for security. That's a need. But desire is the strategy we use to fulfill that need. And if we are attached to our desires, then we are going away from Krishna. But needs are, you just can't suppress them, you just can't deny them. They will haunt you sooner or later. Like for example, need to have healthy prasad. That's a basic need, human need to eat good food. But the desire is, I'm going to eat only chocolate and only pizza. Morning, afternoon, night, I want only samosas. That is a desire. The need is food. Prasadam is a need. But when I'm attached to only this kind, like for example, health, good health is a need. But if I say I'm going to play football, only football, morning to night, So if I'm attached to football, that is a desire. So I'm not against football, I'm just giving an example. So we have needs and we have desires. So what happens, many times, we get attached to desires and we think that is a need. So if we can separate that, if we can go deeper and understand what is my need. Sometimes devotees have a need for companionship. They have a need for approval, acknowledgement, appreciation. But then if I desire only this devotee should appreciate me, or this devotee should praise me, then that becomes very disturbing and it becomes very messy. So the best thing to do is to understand our need. So when you connect to your needs, at least you are honest, you know what is my need. And then approach Krishna and offer those needs to Krishna. Krishna, this is my need, now you please take care of me. And Krishna orchestrates our lives in such a way that he takes care of our needs. He arranges devotees in our lives. So if you have good association and if you have association and awareness of our needs, then we will be able to separate, we'll be able to have a proper dichotomy, we'll be able to separate the two. We'll be able to please Krishna's senses also and take care of our needs also. I'll tell you one Grihastha devotee. He's such an amazing devotee. He's very sincere. Please don't judge him. But I liked one thing he said to me. He has too many responsibilities. He's a counselor. He does seva in temple. And he's also taking care of his family. His children are good. Everything is good. So I told him, how do you balance? He said, there is a secret. Promise me you won't tell anyone. So I said, I promise I won't tell anyone. And even if I tell someone, I'll tell them not to tell anyone. So he gave a very interesting technique. And he said, I've heard in so many classes devotees say that you should make Krishna the center of your life. And he said, Prabhu, I tried that, but it created a lot of problems in my life. Because, if I make Krishna as the center, then I'm not able to do other things I'm not able to take care of my needs. So what I started doing is that I want to reach that stage where Krishna is the center of my life. Right now, I have made Krishna as one part of my life. So he said, there is a circle, and Krishna is the center, then everything revolves around Krishna, satisfying Krishna's senses. I am not ready for that as yet. So what I have done is, I've at least allowed Krishna to enter my circle. And I have kept Krishna there, in one part of this circle. And then, slowly, I'm hoping he will become the center of my life. I like that answer. And then I said, can you please practically explain what do you mean? What actually you do? He said, Prabhu, very simple. Right now I am in temple, right now I am with you. I have told my wife and my son not to disturb me for the next 4 hours. I am going to temple, this is my time with Krishna. Okay, so I am not going to pick up your phone call. And then now when I am going home, he said, next week I am going for a holiday with my family. So before I go for the holiday, I'm going to come to temple. I'm going to tell Radha Gopinath, Krishna, see, I'm going to with my family for 1 week. So please, please don't expect me to be, 24 hours chanting. I'm going to enjoy. We're going to go, all those different things you're going to do with this family. So he said, so he's remembering Krishna, but he's also very honest and authentic. So what happens is when devotees are aware of their needs, then their prayers become authentic. They are able to connect with Krishna better. Otherwise, we get carried away. Oh, Krishna should be the center. I should chant more. One devotee says, do more Sankirtan. You do more Sankirtan. Another devotee says, chant. So you start getting pulled in all directions and you get disconnected from your own self. And Krishna wants us to offer the best we have. Krishna doesn't want us to offer what we don't have. Each one of us is unique. So let us offer Krishna the best version of ourselves. And some of us may not be able to do many things. I know some devotees who are doing hundreds of things. And I look at them and I say, Dandavat Pranam, great. But I can't do that. I need my time with journaling and writing, reading, chanting verses. So I think we need to connect to our needs and feelings. Is that okay? Does that answer your question? Yes.
The head pujari at ISKCON Soho once said in the devotee worship course that instead of thinking, what's the minimum I can do in my deity worship, what's the maximum I can do in the minimum amount of time I have.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes, Mataji.
When you said needs and desires, I think self-discipline.
Self-discipline?
Yeah.
It's needed.
It's needed.
Definitely. Determination, self-discipline is needed. Otherwise our desires, mind will make us go crazy.
We have to discipline
Yeah,
ourselves.
definitely. Yes, Prayojan Prabhu, and then I see so many hands. Just last three. Prayojan Prabhu, then Prabhu you, and then Kishan.
It occurs to me that actually Krishna's real pleasure comes from the pleasure of serving his devotees. That actually it's not a case of preference, it's a case of that what makes Krishna more pleased is when we grasp this understanding that that their needs are primary, and that will cause us to progress.
Yeah.
I think that's the priority. But also Bhaktisiddhanta, he said that our needs, it's Chaito Darpana Marjanam, basically is we polish our heart, we clean our heart.
Yeah.
But actually, Bhaktisiddhanta says, he quotes a Christian thing where he says, actually, don't chant the holy name in vain. And that means in vanity. For you. Don't chant it for you. It's for Krishna's pleasure. That's the chanting of the holy name, when it is actually his Krishna's pleasure. And that actually we should be bearing that in mind. Much like in the last verse of Shiksastakam, that's a very high elevated state where Radharani is saying, I know no one but Krishna is my Lord. Even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me, he's completely free to do anything and everything. For he's always my Lord, unconditionally. So my happiness or unhappiness becomes, even if it's his happiness, that is my happiness. My unhappiness is it doesn't matter, because if it makes Krishna happy, then that's my happiness.
Yes.
It's very high, isn't it?
Beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu. Just echoing Prayojan Prabhu's There's a verse in the Adi Puran where Krishna says that one who says he is my devotee is not my devotee. But one who says he is a devotee of my devotees, he is my devotee. So, thank you. Yes, Prabhu, and then Kishan Prabhu, and then we'll end. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So,
Yeah, it's on.
when you mentioned about the needs, and you said how association and awareness. So on one level, we know we have basic human needs, so pretty much everyone knows. How do we understand the specific ones that we are different to others? Because often, I guess, we see others and we think that, we would want those things. So how do you really look at yourself and find your own needs?
It helps to have good friends, who help us reflect back. And also some amount of reflection, time. And things are not black and white, there's something called as trial and error. You learn by, like I follow one rule. Any seva I get, I just first say yes. Just, because we don't know how much mercy we are going to get. And then I realize in the middle of that service, I can't do this. I can't sustain it. But in principle, I have seen devotees are very merciful, They accept when we beg forgiveness, they forgive us. So I say yes because I want to please Vaishnavas. And then I learn. I've learned over the last, it has taken me some years to realize what I can do and what I can't. So now I'm able to humbly say no. But if there is a strong yes burning inside, then we can say no to other things. So the attitude is important. The attitude is I have a desire to serve. I want to love Krishna. And then Krishna will take care, Things will be revealed to us. And don't expect overnight, I get up in the morning and I know what I can do, what I can't do. It's trial and error. We learn, we slip, we try something and then it fails and then we try again. It's a journey, right? Life is a journey. So you learn many things. Like I learned many things which I thought I could never do. But I'm grateful to Krishna and devotees because they gave me an opportunity. Sometimes devotees, they have so much clarity that they don't want to take up exciting new challenges or new opportunities which will help them grow. Like I know one devotee says, I will only chant. And it's not that he's chanting a lot of rounds or something, but he refuses to take up many nice services which he can do because he says, no, I'm only focused on holy name. So sometimes I feel sad for him because, I want to tell him, Prabhu, but you can also do this, You are a very good speaker. You can speak Krishna Katha. You can go and do this program. You can tell people. No, I will just chant in the temple. So I feel he's depriving others from getting Krishna consciousness. And he himself will feel more fulfilled when he goes out and tells others about Krishna. But sometimes, we assume that we have so much clarity of our needs and feelings and I won't do anything else. That's also bad. So the idea should be, the mood should be sincerely wanting Krishna to mold my life. And then at the same time having awareness. It's a paradox, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Life is not black and white. Don't expect to have clear answers which will guide you for the rest of your life. Sometimes you learn, you slip, you grow. And we also go through phases. Like there are times when I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to see a human being, I want to be alone. That doesn't mean I'm a loner. It's just that you're tired, you're exhausted, you need some space. But the mood, the essence, the main point is what is my innermost desire? Do I want to serve Krishna? Then Krishna will guide. Is that okay? Yes, we'll end with this last, we are already 9. It's 9. Kishan Prabhu and then we'll end.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class, and I particularly appreciated the point about the principle and the application and the matchstick and the sun, so thank you for that. My question was, when we're reading the conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai, and then it gets deeper and deeper into kind of things that are significantly beyond my understanding, or like Mahaprabhu, and he's speaking about the Atma Ram verse to Sanatana Goswami, I don't feel it's like applicable for me, so how to approach scripture during that particular
beautiful
time?
Question. How to approach scriptures when sections don't seem applicable to me, right? Because we are so much tuned in to think of practical things, we think this is not applicable, this is not practical. But if you somehow with faith hear or read, then over a period of time, it'll all fall in place. Just like if you watch a good movie, the movie begins with, in the first scene may show a gun hanging behind a portrait. And a few seconds, the camera is, zooming on that. And then you may wonder, what is it? There's no connection with the story. And then the story goes off, and then so many things happen. And in the last scene of the movie, you see that the bullet was fired from that gun behind the portrait. Then in the end of the movie, in a suspense thriller movie, all the dots are joined. And the last scene of the movie, you understand, oh, this is what it was. Everything in the movie made sense. Right? So similarly, Krishna conscious life is like a good movie. Good suspense thriller movie, Krishna is directing I have faith in Krishna's direction. So many things don't make sense. Oh, what is this section I am reading? Just have faith. At the right time, everything it'll be like, wow, yes. Like today when I was speaking the class, some verses it was not part of my preparation. I just remembered some example, some analogy. So what happens is, it comes in place. You see what I'm saying, Kishan Prabhu? It's don't look for, exact, okay, this is my problem, I want this solution and this section is not giving me that solution. No, have faith, continue to read. You will get the solution. Have you gone to these war colleges? Do you know that there are many very famous war military academies where they teach, in military, my cousin was in the army, so he tells me that in this 4-year course, they teach you how to fight. Of course, that's part of the army training, but they also teach you about different wars. The Second World War, which was a very famous battles in Second World War, or some Napoleonic battles. So they learn the battles very nicely. And okay, this is what happened, and this is a strategy they adopted, and then this is what happened, and then this is how they won the war. So they study all these battles very nicely. And they give the exam. Now, after all this training, so then, my friend, he got into ATS, Anti-Terrorist Squad. So they were part of this operation at the Taj Mahal Hotel, where they had to drive out the terrorists. So I jokingly told him after the whole operation that you studied so many battles. When you went in there, did you take out your notes and see now which battle, which strategy I have to follow? No, there you used your intuition, which was based on the collective learning over a period of 4 years. All of that combined together to help you understand and in the spur of the moment take the appropriate action. Right? Similarly, we read all these pastimes and all these scriptures with faith. We learn, and then at the right situation, right provocation, right challenge, you will be inspired by Krishna within your heart to apply it in a certain way. That's why we can't copy-paste scriptural solutions in our day-to-day life. We have to take the principle, study them faithfully, diligently, and then we will be guided by a higher power to apply that in our day-to-day life. So Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversation may apparently seem making no sense, but with faith, when we hear the Paramatma in the heart, Shrinvata Shuddhaya Nittam Grantacha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. Bhagavatam, a series of verses, which says that when we hear attentively, even though it is apparently not helping me in my business, in my relationships, but the cleansing is happening, and Krishna will guide us appropriately. Is that okay? So I want to sincerely thank all of you for your kind attention and for giving me an opportunity to serve today. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Sri Shada Gokulanand Bhagavan ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.